Hey guys, first of all, can I just say how much I miss all of you and I miss hugging you. I miss just being in your presence. Um, we are built for relationship and this whole distancing is really challenging. So I hope that these words bring comfort to somebody. I hope they reach the people they're meant to reach. But tonight I just wanted to talk to you guys about perspective. So, first of all, I want to preface this by saying, do not compare your trauma and what is genuinely upsetting to you. You can't compare that to somebody else. So please take this with a grain of salt. Because I'm going to talk about perspective and looking at like the big picture and long term. But for so many people this time, even if you have a good home life, even if you are so blessed as to not have to be stressed about money because everybody in your family kept their jobs, if you get along well with your siblings, even if you have plenty of food to eat, all that stuff. So even if you have all of that, that doesn't mean that you aren't allowed to feel sad or upset or experience the sadness and trauma and anger that you might be feeling. So just know that. And if somebody tries to make you feel bad for that, don't let them. What we do have to take responsibility for is our choices on how to react and how we treat other people. We're allowed to feel angry and frustrated. We're allowed to be sad, but it's how we act out on those feelings that we get into problems, right? So you're allowed to be frustrated, but you are not supposed to snap and bite people's heads off, especially that didn't do anything to you, right? But we do because we're human. So I just wanted to talk about perspective and kind of just in a little bit of a lead in. What I wanted to focus on is I've had a lot of traumas in my life, and they certainly are not as big as some people have had in trauma in their own life. And some people, I don't know how they survive what they've gone through, right? They have been through, rapes or losing a parent very young, or, going through bankruptcy or experiencing parents that get divorced or a divorce of their own. Those are things I've not had to encounter in my life. And I'm so very thankful. But I have had some very serious trauma, and I have had some things in my life that hurt so very badly. And so I wanted to talk about this in that framework that looking back in my life, I remember those moments that felt like my life was going to end, or I felt like I couldn't see beyond this wall of misery in front of me. And that's all I could feel, that's all I could experience. I know there was times of just incredible, overwhelming, drowning sadness. Like that's what I usually use to describe it, is just drowning, or being in a pit and not being able to get out. And I know what those feelings feel like. And when you have very real circumstances, as we all do right now, so whether that is just not being able to experience your friends, not being able to live out your sports season, not being able to attend, a big wedding or event, or having your own wedding canceled. These are all very real things that we have to experience. And, please look for my post that I did about coping, because we need to be very aware of our coping mechanisms right now and be engaging in those healthy coping mechanisms, because those are super important. So back to perspective. So we're having these very real things that we experience. And right now in this present moment, it is hard because we're so uncertain day to day. We're like, what's tomorrow going to happen? I don't know. Maybe we have to wear full body hazmat suits, or maybe they'll tell us to stop wearing masks and there's a vaccine. Can we go eat next week? Are we even going to be able to go to the grocery stores? We just don't know, and then people are talking about fall coming. And well, are we going to be able to go to college for real? Or are we going to have to go online? Or is school going to be online? What am I going to do with my kids during the day if somebody works full time? So these are all very real, uncertain things that we have. And day to day, there's just so much nervousness and anxiety and fear. And, I used this phrase that this is the perfect time to either grow your relationship with God, get super close to Him, sit in that peace that He can give, right? That peace that surpasses all understanding, right? Like we can't even understand why we're at peace because all this chaos is going on and all this chaos is looming in the future and we just don't know and things are so uncertain. So this is the perfect time to do that and build that relationship. Or this could be the perfect time to just let your spirituality go, to let your relationship with God go, to say, screw it, I'm too busy doing nothing else, or I'm too busy worrying, or the people that really just have too much on their plate because they've been asked to do more than they usually have. Those are all things that we're hearing is, there's either like an immense boredom that people are just leaning into, or there's such an overwhelm and people are leaning into that. So I'm over and over again encouraging people to use this time to get closer to God, because what is the ultimate goal, right? What is life all about? We are created out of love, for love, by God, for God. And we are not truly created for this life on earth, right? So as much as we might love our friends, as much as we might love our routines and our sports and our hobbies and our passions, we are created for heaven. We are created for paradise. We are created for perfect union with God. And that, as much as we might try, is not going to happen here on earth. So there are going to be times where we have these things in front of our face that are so overwhelming, so consuming, that we cannot see past them. And it's hard to live the day to day, and it's hard to think about the future. And yet, in my own life, going back to my example, I had those times that I didn't think there was going to be a tomorrow. I didn't see how. I didn't see a possibility. I just couldn't see it because I am human and my brain is so limited. But God sees all things. And He knows, I don't know. He knows how we're going to get through all of this. He knows how He is going to find good in all of this. He knows how He's going to grow us. He knows all of the blessings that we can find in this, right? If we choose to. And so looking at all of those horrible times in my lives and those traumas that I experienced, I got through them all. And looking back, it just seems, I don't know, so much smaller than I thought it was at that time. So just know that there will be a day when you can look back on this and laugh at all of our pictures in our masks and seeing, toilet paper shelves empty, pictures from that. There will be a time when we can laugh. And there will be a time when we can say, remember when? There will be a time when we can say, hey, guess what? I lived through the great pandemic of 2020, right? They say hindsight is 2020, and now in this year, I think that is really, really funny, because we have the opportunity to look through the lens of hindsight, that this sucks, it really does, and we have the right to be frustrated and upset and sad, and we have a right to grieve those losses of friends, of experiences, of the things that are truly saddening our soul at this point. But we have to look forward to the ultimate goal, that beautiful paradise, that heaven. So what are we doing to prepare ourselves, to prepare our soul for that time? What are we doing to help those that their situations are even more traumatic than ours right now? What is one thing you can do today to reach out to someone that might need even more love and support than you do right now? What can you offer of yourself? And I guarantee you, when we reach out to others and we do something for those that have less than we do, that builds you up so much more than anything ever could. Because that's what we were created for. That's love, and we are created to help each other and be in communion with one another and to be community for each other. So what can you do to help someone else that might have even less than you do? And what can you do to shift your perspective, to examine what you're grateful for, and to know that one day you will look back and it will seem so much smaller than it does right now? Thanks, guys.